Hey guys, welcome back to the ExamRevision YouTube channel. My name is Ellen and today I'm going to be talking about how to memorize your notes, information, anything like that for your Leaving Cert and your Junior Cert. But yeah, without further ado, let's get on with the video. The first thing I want to talk about is understanding the material. I know I feel like I talk about understanding your material so often, but I honestly think it is probably the most important part of the Leaving Cert. If you really want to succeed in certain subjects, understanding all of the topics completely thoroughly is so important. I did biology, chemistry and physics as my choice subjects. And so for especially those subjects and all of the sciences in general, including like ag science or phys chem, depending what you're doing, before learning anything, understanding everything is so crucial, and being able to understand it enough to like teach it to somebody else and write it in your own words. Because I think with most of the sciences, now this might not apply for biology, but I would definitely say for physics, chemistry, phys chem, probably ag science as well, and parts of home ec, and also the difficult parts of biology. If you can really understand that material, you probably won't need to learn that much of. That's how much you should understand the material. It's really difficult to explain in words, but what I'm trying to say is if you really understand a topic really thoroughly, there isn't much you will actually have to rope learn off. Your understanding of it is in your brain instead of just random words, random sentences that you know what to do with the topic. Make sure before you start learning anything off, you understand the material. Because understanding the material is 3/4 of the battle of memorization. The next thing I'm going to be talking about are active learning techniques. This includes teaching the material to someone else, whether that be your mother, your sibling, anyone. Making flashcards, either physical flashcards. I always used to use Quizlet and it was unbelievable. I use Quizlet all the time. And also on Quizlet, you don't actually need to create your own flashcards all the time. You can always search up a topic in like biology and usually somebody else has already made them and you can just use those. I did also kind of prefer writing my own flashcards because I feel like writing down information for me anyway was the key for getting it in my brain. That's why I wrote all of my own notes on my own flashcards majority of the time, because I think for me and for most people, writing down things is really how you memorize it. It's not sitting at your desk staring at an essay being like, just reading it a couple times, yeah, like, okay, I'm gonna learn this off, because it's just not realistic. And yeah, it might stay in your brain for 20 minutes after learning it, but I promise you by the next day, it's gone, that's it. Because realistically, it's just in your short-term memory because you're just staring at it. Of course, you're gonna pick up some things, but on how to really memorize it and getting into the back of your brain and your deep, deep memory, using active learning techniques is so important. As I was saying, understanding is obviously so important, and to check if you actually understand the material, do teach it to someone else. They actually might not be listening, they probably don't care that much. But if you're able to sit someone down and be the teacher and teach them something and answer their questions, you 100% know it. You shouldn't just be trying to stare at it and just read it a million times. You need to check if your understanding is as strong, and so therefore your understanding will equal memorization. And I feel like a lot of people don't get that, but I do think a massive cheat in the Leaving Cert is if you do understand most of the material and keep checking back when you are studying, keep checking back on things. Do I understand that? Explaining it to someone, saying it out loud, going through flashcards, being able to answer all your flashcards. That's you memorizing it. You might not think you have memorized, but you do. And you might not have actually sat down and actually tried to memorize any of the material, but because your understanding is so clear, it's in your head. And that's really how I got through my Leaving Cert, especially since doing all three sciences. That's what worked for me. Going along with that, my next point is really talking about like stress management and organization. And I'm not going to talk about generally about these things. What I'm trying to say is that people are going to get very stressed as we're getting closer to the exams. When they get stressed, they're going to try and rope learn everything off. You still have time to understand all of your material, plenty of time. So don't start panicking and starting to think, oh my god, don't understand it, too late, don't have time to understand it, just gonna learn it off. And on your exam day, when you're sitting in that seat, you're gonna be under so much pressure that all those little things that you memorized, that you've no idea what they mean because you didn't take the time to understand them, they will all be out of your head. So it is crucial to not panic, to not stress. You still have time and you need to use that time to understand the material. That is how you're going to memorize it and keep it in your deep memory for when you need it in June. If you truly feel like you understand a topic, you can teach someone else and there's no questions in your mind about, oh well, what's this or what's this. If you truly understand the topic, and obviously now there is some parts that you're not remembering, but you know you understand it. So obviously there is some memorization techniques that you can use. A lot of things that I like to use were visual aids. I would create like big posters, and that can be fun. It can be like a little study break. I would literally create massive posters of like big diagrams in biology or chemistry or physics that I needed to remember, and I would just stick them around my room. I had the most random posters around my room that I made, but because I'm seeing it every day, I could be looking in the mirror doing my hair, but the poster's right in front of me and I'm just kind of staring at it. You're seeing it every single day, because as I'm saying, another key tip to memorization is repetition. Seeing the same thing over and over again, reading the same thing over and over again. That's why you really need to lock down your understanding, so that, for me, I know it sounds stupid, but once I understood things, for me studying was literally being like, oh yeah, reading through another topic, oh yeah, I remember understanding all this. It's all coming back to me. Yeah, all cool. Let's move on to the next thing. Like when it gets to like the week or two before the Leaving Cert, that's how your studying should be. You should be opening your notes, reading through, next one, reading through. Yeah, I understand all this. Everything's good. As well as past papers, obviously. If there is a difficult chapter that you're just not getting in whatever subject it may be in, you need to be repetitively seeing that topic and reading about that topic. Whether it be every day when you get home from school and you sit down to study and there's a particular topic in some subject you don't get or you're just not catching on to, you should be taking 10 minutes before that study session to read through your notes on that topic. Try and understand it again. Okay, didn't get it today, move on, keep going in your study session. Don't spend too much time getting hooked up on something, but again, the repetition and going through that every single day of a topic that you don't get is how you're going to memorize it. Memorization does not come from sitting at the page, learning off the first sentence, saying it a million times, learning off the second sentence, saying it a million times. That's just not going to work. On the day of the exam, I promise you, you are going to be stressed and worried, and all those random things you memorized are out the window. They're gone. So you deeply need to understand these topics and be repetitively reinforcing them in your head. You don't just understand them and then that's it, see you in June. But when you are going to study that topic at some point, even though you already understand it, you need to just be reading through the topic, doing your past papers. You should be getting them all right because you thoroughly understand it and you're repetitively reading over all of your notes all the time. I really hope you're understanding what I'm trying to get at here. But honestly, this is exactly what worked for me and what helped me get the grades I did in my Leaving Cert. Rope learning does not work unless it's a subject that you're just really awful at. For me, it was French. I rope learned. That was just how it worked. Don't know how it did, but I obviously did not do as great in French as I should have. But for subjects that you know you can do well in, rope learning should never be a thing. Anyway, thanks so much for watching and I will talk to you all next week. Bye!
Also guys, be sure to check out the exam revision courses and bundles. I actually have a 20% off code for you. I'll put it on the screen now. They cover majority of the Leaving Cert and Junior Cert subjects. They have H1 standard notes, video lessons, presentations, quizzes, exam questions, everything you will need to succeed in the Leaving Cert and Junior Cert.